Power Fur Rangers Episode 1, Day in the Toilet, Part 1. Created and written by the Furry Sith Lord. Fanfiction based on Saban's Power Ranger series. Deep in space on the moon, two astronauts are walking along searching the area. One carries a clipboard as he marks the locations of asteroid impacts from a mysterious storm within the last 12 hours. "Hey, check it out," Marcus told Lucas. Lucas lowered the clipboard and saw something shining with a golden light. The light was blinding and he had to cover his eyes to shield them until the light stopped. Looking closer, he saw a large meteorite that was made of solid silver but had golden chains wrapped around it. Lucas stumbled and fell on his paws and knees as he saw the precious stone in front of him. "Is that real?" Lucas asked. "We are gonna be rich, buddy." Marcus shouted and he helped his friend stand, then they both ran over to the meteorite. "How are we gonna get this back home?" Lucas asked. Marcus placed his gloved paw on the surface, and the entire meteorite shook violently. The golden chains pulled themselves free, and as if they were snakes, they reached out and wrapped themselves around them as they struggled to get free. The silver meteorite liquefied and moved away, then began to form into a large silver fortress. The gold chains then liquefied, except for the ones holding the astronauts, and formed what looked like golden tiger stripes upon the fortress. The chains then pulled the two inside of it. They were dragged into a throne room, and the inside was filled black onyx stone and piles of gold lay scattered in piles all over the place. Two large thrones were set up in the center of the room, and Marcus and Lucas were held floating in front of the thrones. One throne was 3 times as large as the other. A snake hiss was heard, and a female king cobra slithered out of the shadows and observed the two intruders. She wore a black robe that covered her scales. She held out her hand, and a multicolored staff rose from the floor, being made of many different colored stones, all rare jewels that shone brightly within the limited light. "Hiss, what do we have here?" she asked as she looked at them. Both shook in fear as her cobra eyes stared at them. "Shall I feed them to our army, Empress?" A large ape in gold-colored armor asked. He had 2 wings folded on his back and a scabbard with a long thin sword at his side. She was about to answer when there was a loud crash of thunder and black smoke blocked out the light in the throne room. The winged ape and the evil Empress stood by speechless as the smoke cleared and a large dragon sat on one of the thrones. He was the largest in the room, and sharp pointy horns grew out of his green scaly skin from his head and neck, stopping on his back. He had glowing red eyes with black slits in the center. Smoke leaked from his nostrils, and fire burned in the dragon's throat coming out of his mouth as he spoke. "What are those things?" the evil emperor asked as he leaned in to look at the astronauts. The scales rubbed against each other and made an eerie grinding noise. "Hiss. Seems like creatures from the planet," the evil empress said as she sat next to her husband on the throne next to his. "Tell me, creatures, does Zoltan still live?" the evil emperor asked as the smoke from his nostrils made Marcus and Lucas cough as the great dragon leaned in next to them to observe them. We don't know who that is," they said as they shook with fear. "Then be gone," the evil emperor shouted as he took a deep breath and blew a powerful gust of wind that sent Marcus and Lucas flying out of a window. They flew off into space as they kicked and screamed. Inside a secret base, a loud siren was going off, and a robot frantically checked a computer linked to a large screen monitor to find what had triggered the alarm. "Clank, what is the cause of the disturbance?" A tiny mole sat in a large fishbowl with his back facing the robot, and the mole was operating gears and levers. A large translucent face of a naked mole rat floated above the fishbowl. The image appeared to speak as the mole spoke into a microphone. "No, no, no, no. The evil emperor has awoken and thrown 2 astronauts off into space." The robot named Clank replied. "Quick, lock on the teleporter and return them to the planet safely." "Yes, Zoltan." The robot replied and went over to another computer. It pulled a lever, and on the computer screen 2 white lights appeared, with one surrounding each astronaut. Their bodies seemed to vanish inside the white light, and the scene changed to a park where the 2 lights appeared. Each astronaut suddenly appeared as the lights vanished, and each one was amazed that they were back on the planet again. They cheered and ran off, relieved that they had been saved. Both Zoltan and Clank breathed a sigh of relief that the astronauts were back safe and sound. "If the evil emperor and the evil empress have awoken from when we imprisoned them in the asteroid belt, we will need a new team of heroes to fight them. Set the computer to 5 suitable candidates," Zoltan ordered. "Yes, Zoltan," Clank replied. It began to press buttons on a computer keyboard, and the computer seemed to come to life. Billy's Juice Bar was a former public gym that was turned into a youth center. The place was set up with fitness machines and training pads set up so that the youth in the area could come here after school and either do their homework or train to become physically fit for sports. Several qualified students taught classes for other species interested in a particular fitness. There were locker rooms and showers in the back rooms so they could change and get cleaned up afterwards. Divided into the typical male, female sides to allow the person to feel comfortable changing among their peers. There were even coin-op washing machines so that patrons could wash their clothing. In the center, a juice bar was set up where Billy, the owner, took orders and brought them to the kitchen area to be prepared. All types of food are available from junk foods to healthy foods. Near a wall next to tables set up for patrons to eat at were several arcade games and a change machine to turn bills into coins, either to play the arcade games or make change for the washing machines. At a particular table, 5 friends of a different species sat doing their homework. An owl sat answering questions from the others, as he had to keep looking over their shoulders to see what they were reading in their textbooks. "I dunno, Brian, this is like too hard." A female sparrow replied as she rolled her eyes looking in her textbook. "No, it's easy, you just gotta apply yourself." Brian the owl said as he used his wing to adjust his glasses. "Heads up guys, look who's coming." Terry, a female kangaroo, said after she made a few clicking noises. The group lifted their heads and groaned as they saw a large overweight pig and a thin skunk enter. These two were well known to the group. Slash, the overweight pig, was wearing sunglasses and he briefly lifted them to look around to see who he could bully. Most species avoided him because they were afraid that he would hurt them because of his weight. Because he was picked on as a piglet, he had turned into a bully himself. His only friend was a skunk that called himself Ghoul. Ghoul was of the mindset that it was better to be Slash's friend rather than have him pick on him. Ghoul smelled awful at times because unlike other skunks he was lazy and never put on enough cologne to hide his skunk hormones. "Check it out, it's the nitwits," Slash said as he saw the friends, and they covered their faces hoping that he would not see them and come over to bother them as they tried to study. Ghoul made a shrill sound like someone was badly playing a trombone. "Hey nitwits, what are you guys up to?" Slash asked mockingly as he approached them, and the group groaned. "Like studying, which is what you two, dweebs, should be doing." Lisa replied as she rolled her eyes. "Studying? For what?" Ghoul asked. "The big test tomorrow, or are you planning to fail as usual?" Zyla, a black-colored wolf with a white underbelly, asked as he slammed his book closed in frustration. Slash and Ghoul looked at each other absently, then shrugged. "Guys, we don't have time for this." Lion, a savanna lion, had a partial mane growing in but not enough for him to be considered an adult lion. He also wore a silver earring in his left ear that looked like a silver spike hanging by a chain. "I think you better make time, Lion boy." Slash threatened, and Zyla rose and moved in front of Lion as if to shield him. Lion used his paw to push Zyla away as he tried to defuse the situation. The evil emperor looked at the planet using his magic to observe the species running around as they went about their daily lives. The others waited patiently, then he broke his gaze and turned to address his wife and his bodyguard. "If Zoltan thinks he can stop me, he has another thing coming." The evil emperor jeered, and the others joined in with the merriment but were quickly silenced as he gestured for them to stop. Hiss. "So how will we conquer them, oh, wicked husband?" The evil empress asked. "There is a city called the Golden City. Sounds like the perfect place for a dragon, like me, to begin my plans to conquer this planet. Send down some snake warriors." The evil emperor cackled, and his wife twirled her magic staff as snakes slithered off her body and transformed into anthropomorphic snake humanoids in loincloths. They hissed and cackled, then she pointed her staff towards the planet, and they shrunk into glowing green spheres, then began to hover and then flew towards the planet. In a peaceful park, a mother rabbit put one of her children on a swing and went around back to give it a push. The girl was the youngest of her children, as a couple of boys were busy playing basketball next to a hoop set up near the swings. The sickly green orbs fell to the surface where the park is, and the snake warriors burst free from them. They shouted and cried, making hissing noises as the species nearby began to run and panic. The mother rabbit wrapped her body around her young daughter to protect her. She cried and begged for mercy on her children. The alarm in the secret base began to sound as it registered the snake warrior attack. The computer screen showed the snake warriors as they ran around the park and had gathered a mother rabbit and her children in the center. They huddled together, terrified, as the snake creatures ran around with 2 of the warriors standing guard over the captives. "Oh no, Zoltan, what do we do? Clank panicked. Calm yourself, Clank. Has the computer finished its search? Zoltan asked. Yes, it has found. Oh no. It picked 5 youths. How can a bunch of children protect the world from the likes of the evil emperor? Clank asked as he began to panic again. Relax, Clank. The computer knows what it is doing. It is connected to the Great Grid where the Power Fur Rangers from ages past have been connected to it, and it gives them their powers. It knows what it is doing. I hope you're right, Zoltan. Where has the evil emperor launched his attack? Zoltan asked, then Clank checked the computer. A place called Gold City. Then prepare to teleport our lair to that location. I sense that our 5 new Power Fur Rangers live there. Oh no. I hate teleporting. Clank whined as he pressed a button and the lair began to glow white. Breaking news in the Gold City Park. These snake creatures appeared out of nowhere and have taken a mother and her children hostage. So far, the police have been unable to rescue them. A reporter cried as loudly as she could as she stood filming next to where the snake warriors held the rabbit family captive. Guys, check it out. Terry said, and she pointed at a TV screen in Billy's juice bar. Slash and Ghoul looked at each other in fear. My mommy needs me. Slash announced as he began to back away. Yeah, his mama needs us. Ghoul added, and they both turned and ran away. The 5 teens ignored them as they watched in horror as police tried firing guns at the snake warriors and the bullets had no effect. The other kids in the building ran out in terror, leaving the 5 of them alone. Take it easy, guys, everything will be alright. Lion said. Yeah, but how? Brian asked. His body suddenly began to glow with a white light, and he vanished as the bodies of the other 4 did the same. The vision cleared among them as they saw themselves standing next to what looked like a large mountain. A robot stood still holding a tray with some odd-looking rings on it. Each ring was a different color. The rings were thick and about an inch in length. A golden rim was at the hollow ends, while the interior was each a different color metal that had golden lightning bolts on them. Like, where are we? Lisa asked, and the others shrugged. Why is there a statue here? Zyla asked as he examined the tray. The tray was moved away from him as Clank glared at him. Oh no. I take offense to that. I am not a statue but a robot. Clank shouted and Zyla took a big step backward. Brian ran over and began to examine Clank. A fully functioning robot, and it appears to be self-aware. Brian mused. Of course I am. What kind of backward planet is this, that none of you know what a sentient robot is? Do you know where we are? Lion asked sternly. Outside of Gold City at our secret base. Clank replied. A secret base? Terry asked. All will be explained, but time is short. Each of you take a ring and put it on so that you can enter our lair. Only someone with a transforming ring can enter our base. Clank instructed. All right, I'm game. Zyla took the black-colored ring and put it on one of his paw's fingers. Lisa took the pink ring, Brian took the blue, Terry took the yellow, and lastly Lion took the red ring. The mountain suddenly changed shape as the illusion covering it vanished, and they could see what looked like a large tower made of white bricks and black mortar. A drawbridge lowered and they entered. They entered the main chamber that had a couple of television monitors set up and a number of keyboards. Towards the center was a mole in what looked like a large glass bowl that was completely sealed. He sat in a chair and was directing things with his own mini-computer terminals. A large face that belonged to the mole was projected up and was large enough that everyone could see him clearly. Greetings, friends. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Zoltan. I have been a guardian that was appointed to protect the world should this day ever come. Zoltan explained. What day? Terry asked. Many years ago, a dragon known as the Evil Emperor was sealed in an asteroid field. He was in hibernation, but somehow, he crash-landed back on the moon, and he wants to take over the planet. But how or why was he captured? Brian asked as he adjusted his glasses. A team of specially chosen warriors banded together, and they were able to capture him and his army. He, unfortunately, was too powerful to ever completely be stopped, so the best we could do was imprison him. He has been freed, and now we need a new team of heroes to become the Power Fur Rangers and save the planet. Zoltan said. Like the Power Fur Rangers? You can't be serious. Lisa replied. He is most definitely serious. Clank replied as he entered. You 5 were chosen and you are needed to stop the evil emperor before he conquers the world. Why don't you do it? Zyla asked. I am trapped in this device. It keeps me eternally at the same age. If I ever step out of it, I will age rapidly and possibly die in seconds. I cannot. This is why the planet needs you. Zoltan said. And if you don't hurry, that rabbit family will be killed. Clank added. The police can't fight them, so what makes you think we can do anything? Lion asked. You're the only ones that can fight them. Clank pleaded. Will you do it? Will you become the Power Fur Rangers? Zoltan asked as they looked at each other, unsure of what they should do. To be continued. This ends episode 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Please join us again in episode 2.
No!